The Mi-24, NATO reporting name, Hind, is a large helicopter gunship, attack helicopter and low-capacity troop transport with room for 8 passengers. It is produced by Moscow Helicopter Plant, and has been operated since 1972 by the Soviet Air Force and its successors, along with 48 other nations. During the early 1960s, it became apparent to Soviet designer Mikhail Mil that the trend towards ever-increasing battlefield mobility would result in the creation of flying infantry fighting vehicles, which could be used to perform both fire support and infantry transport missions. The first expression of this concept was a mock-up unveiled in 1966 in the experimental shop of the Ministry of Aircraft's Factory No. 329, where Mil was head designer. The mock-up, designated V-24, was based on another project, the V-22 utility helicopter, which never flew. The V-24 had a central infantry compartment that could hold 8 troops sitting back-to-back, and a set of small wings positioned to the top rear of the passenger cabin, capable of holding up to 6 missiles, or rockets, and a twin-barrel GSH-23L cannon fixed to the landing skid. Mil proposed the design to the heads of the Soviet armed forces. While he had the support of a number of strategists, he was opposed by several more senior members of the armed forces, who believed that conventional weapons were a better use of resources. The core of the aircraft was derived from the Mil Mi-8, NATO reporting name HIP, with 2 top-mounted turboshaft engines driving a mid-mounted 17.3 meters 5-blade main rotor, and a 3-blade tail rotor. The engine configuration gave the aircraft its distinctive double air intake. Original versions have an angular greenhouse-style cockpit. Model D and later have a characteristic tandem cockpit with a double bubble canopy. Other airframe components came from the Mi-14 Haze. 2 mid-mounted stub wings provide weapon hardpoints, each offering 3 stations, in addition to providing lift. The loadout mix is mission-dependent. Mi-24s can be tasked with close air support, anti-tank operations, or aerial combat. The Mi-24 fuselage is armored, and can resist impacts from 12.7 mm rounds from all angles. The titanium rotor blades are resistant to 12.7 mm rounds. The cockpit is protected by ballistic-resistant windscreens and a titanium armored tub. The main rotor was tilted 2.5 degrees to the right from the fuselage, to compensate for translating tendency at a hover. The landing gear was also tilted to the left, so that the rotor would still be level when the aircraft was on the ground, making the rest of the airframe tilt to the left. The tail was also asymmetrical to give a side force of speed, thus unloading the tail rotor. A modified Mi-24B, named A-10, was used in several speed and time to climb world record attempts. The helicopter had been modified to reduce weight as much as possible. One measure was the removal of the stub wings. The previous official speed record was set on 13 August 1975 over a closed 1,000 km course of 332.65 km per hour. Many of the female-specific records were set by the all-female crew of Galina Astorgaeva and Lyudmila Polyanskaya. On 21 September 1978, the A-10 set the absolute speed record for helicopters with 368.4 km per hour over a 25 km course. The record stood until 1986, when it was broken by the current official record holder, a modified British Westland Lynx. As a combination of armored gunship and troop transport, the Mi-24 has no direct NATO counterpart. While the UH-1, Huey, helicopters were used in the Vietnam War either to ferry troops or as gunships, they were not able to do both at the same time. Converting a UH-1 into a gunship meant stripping the entire passenger area to accommodate extra fuel and ammunition, and removing its troop transport capability. The Mi-24 was designed to do both, and this was greatly exploited by airborne units of the Soviet Army during the 1980-89 Soviet-Afghan War. The closest Western equivalent was the Sikorsky S-67 Blackhawk, which used many of the same design principles, and was also built as a high-speed, high-agility attack helicopter with limited troop transport capability using many components from the existing Sikorsky S-61. The S-67, however, was never adopted for service. Other Western equivalents are the Romanian Army's IAR-330, which is a license-built armed version of the Aerospatiale SA-330 Puma, and the MH-60 Direct Action Penetrator, a special-purpose armed variant of the Sikorsky UH-60 Blackhawk. The Hind has been called the world's only assault helicopter due to its combination of firepower and troop-carrying capability.